Hi, I'm Juliana Johnston Centuria, and this is Jonathan.
Hi.
Hi, and welcome to our video that's going to cover Lesson 11 for our 3rd grade Parent-Child Hebrew class. Listen carefully to this word and tell me what sound is new. Saba. Saba.
I hear the s.
The s, right? Like an S sound, exactly. And listen to this one, savta.
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 Right, so those words kind of sound alike, don't they? Saba, savta.
Saba. Savta.
If you took a peek at the chapter 11 book, you see a couple of pictures here, so you might be able to guess what they are. So what do you think those words mean?
Grandma and Grandpa.
That's right. Grandpa is Saba, and Grandma Savta. And what's interesting to me about that, can you see there's the second letter, Sab, ba, the B, but in the next one it's Sav, v. So the B and the V are really the same letter. It's just whether or not it has the dagesh. We were talking about that last time, or last lesson. So very similar words. They share what we call a root. So they have some letters in common. Okay, so Grandma and Grandpa, those are pretty good words to know. And we're going to talk about, we're going to do a review and learn some new family words in class this Sunday. So I think that'll be fun. Okay, so you heard the S, but it turns out in Hebrew there are 2 ways to make an S. Just like there are 2 ways to make a T and 2 ways to make a V. Right? So let's show them both ways. Right. Okay, so this one's really new. Different shape than any of the other letters that we've talked about. But this one looks pretty much like a letter we already know, doesn't it? What letter does that look like?
Shin.
Right. So the only difference, let's just look at that one for a sec. The only difference is where you put the dot. So which side. So when it's on this side,
it's sin.
right? And when you
this.
and then when you move it to the other side, it sounds like
Shh.
right. And do you know how I remember this?
How?
Do you know Mrs. Drozen, Morah Chanah? She's the 6th grade parent-child class. That's Henry's teacher. Henry, our video man behind the camera.
Henry?
So we joke that the way to remember which side it goes on is to say Sharon is always right. And when you meet Morah Chanah, you'll know what we mean, because she's always right. And Henry's saying, no, she's not always right. I think she's always right. So that's how you remember that the dot needs to be on the right side when it sounds like shh, because Sharon is always right. We'll review that little trick in class too. So just like the other ones where there are 2 letters that sound alike, it's just a matter of spelling. So Saba and Savta, those use this S. You want to show them that one? Samech. That letter is called Samech. You want to try saying that?
Samech.
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 Okay, good. All right, now listen to this word, because this has our other S in it, the sin. Yisrael. Yisrael. One more time.
Israel.
Well, what is that word? You know that word.
Israel.
Israel, that's right. In English we would say Israel, but in Hebrew, Yisrael. And it's got that y sound at the beginning, the yud. But you hear the s in the middle. So listen one more time. Yisrael. You hear that in the middle?
Israel.
And I know it's the s sound instead of the sh sound because of where the dot is. Okay, so there's 2 hand signals with a s sound. They're kind of silly, but the s reminds me of a snake, don't you think? Yeah, exactly. So we do it 2 ways to remember it. You make kind of like the shape of a scene, and then do this for the scene, and then you make, this is like, pretend this is the head of your snake. and then you make an kind of this shape, which is like the samech, and you go like this. I know, that's pretty silly. Let's show them how to write them. So let's turn around. Okay. All right, I'll do the left hand, you do the right hand this time.
Which way?
Let's do sin first, okay? So you're going to go down, over, and up. Make your little diagonal, and then your dot. Let's try it again. That was kind of confusing, right? So I hope you're following at home, too. Down, over, and up. Make your diagonal. Give us a dot. Nice. Okay.
I'm coloring in
You're coloring in your dot. Okay, then let's show them the other one, the samech. Okay? And this is like one big giant motion. So start way up here, go over and down in a giant U. So that's easy, right? Let's try that again. You go over and down in a giant U. Okay, excellent. That's okay. It's easier when you're really writing it. So let's have everybody at home take a minute to try writing it. On page 52, they're going to try writing it at home. We're going to wait for you to catch up. I want you to try writing the letter several times and then also write the new words out. Okay, so we'll wait for you while you pause. Okay, we're back. So good work practicing your writing. When you take the time to learn how to write the letters, it helps you recognize it. There's one other new sound. It was at the end of Yisrael, and we kind of just skipped over it, but I want to talk just for a second about it. It's one of our vowel markings, and we've learned something about it already, but this version of it is a little different. So listen to the word. Here, let's set these down for a sec. Yisrael.
Yisrael.
So what sound is different at the end?
E.
Yisrael.
E. No, E.
Yeah, but we already know an don't we?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's another E.
This is another So let's show them what this looks like.
Dramatic appearance.
Okay, that was very dramatic. Okay, hold it still for a sec. So this is two dots going across. We already know an that has 3 dots in a triangle, right? Or 5 dots. They're all on red paper. Do you remember this little hand motion like this when we learned originally? What is that supposed to be? Right, this is supposed to be a nest.
6 eggs.
Thank you, I'll take your eggs. So we envision all these little dots as eggs in a nest. Okay? Does that help you remember it?
I want to take one.
You want to take one out?
So you have another.
Okay, well let's finish up our lesson because we're almost out of time. So we're going to do a big review of these vowel sounds this Sunday. And people will be able to work at their own level, and we'll even make some materials to review vowel markings at home. But do you remember learning this one when it had the yud? So we've learned this so far when it would have a yud up here. Do you remember that, Jay, when it's got the yud?
I don't know.
Do you have any idea what that might sound like?
Yeah.
When it's got a yud up here. What do you think, hon? We're almost out of time, so help me out here. Yud. Do you remember that one at all?
Or E?
No, sweetie, it's not. It's an A. So when the 2 dots have the yud, it's an A sound. I think everybody needs a little bit of vowel review. What do you think?
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody at home to do a little bit of work in your book on page 53, and if you're also using the video game, to use the video game, and to do any of the exercises in the chapter that might be helpful, whatever routine has been working for you at home. Okay, and it's also good to try some of the reading on page 52 at the top of the page. You can also use the video game to do that out loud reading to check to see if you're reading it correctly, and that can be really helpful, especially as we're working on all these confusing vowel markings. Okay? All right, everybody, so we'll see you on Sunday, and shalom. Shalom ve lahitraot.